Hey, beautiful people. I want to start with something that happened to me at a rooftop bar in Santorini 2 summers ago. I was sitting there, watching the sunset melt into the Aegean, and at the table next to me was a woman. She looked about 30, maybe 32, stunning in a white linen dress, her dark hair catching the breeze. And beside her, holding her hand with complete calm, was a man who had to be in his mid-60s. Silver hair, weathered hands, this quiet kind of presence that took up no space but somehow filled everything around it. And I remember thinking, not with judgment, not with confusion, but with genuine curiosity, what is it about this combination that feels so complete? I am Julia, and today we are going deep into something that does not get talked about nearly enough. We are talking about Greece, one of the most romantically layered places on this entire planet. And we are exploring 50 reasons why women in their 30s are increasingly, openly, and sometimes passionately choosing men who are 65 and older. This is not a trend piece. This is not clickbait. This is a real, nuanced, culturally grounded conversation about love, security, wisdom, and what modern women actually want when they strip away the noise. So pour yourself something wonderful, get comfortable, and let us begin. Part 1. The cultural foundation. Reason 1. Greece teaches women early that age is a form of currency. If you have ever spent real time in Greece, not just hopping from one tourist island to the next, but actually sitting in a village square, eating slow meals, listening to grandmothers argue over olive oil, you understand immediately that age is not something to be hidden or managed or feared. It is celebrated. It is trusted. The older man in Greece is not invisible. He is the one the whole table turns to when something important needs to be decided. He has weight. He has history. And Greek women, raised in this cultural landscape, grow up understanding that a man who has been around for 65 years has something that a man of 35 simply cannot manufacture. Reason 2. The Greek economic reality has reshaped what security means. Greece went through a devastating financial crisis that lasted the better part of a decade and scarred an entire generation. Young Greek men in their 20s and 30s during that period faced unemployment rates that were genuinely catastrophic. They moved back into their parents' homes. They postponed everything: careers, marriages, independence. The women watching this were not unsympathetic, but they were also realistic. A man in his 60s, particularly one who built his life before the crisis, represents something that has been tested and survived. His stability is not theoretical, it is proven. And in a country where economic uncertainty became a lived daily experience, that kind of proven stability carries enormous emotional and practical weight. Reason 3. Mediterranean family structure places enormous pressure on women to choose wisely the first time. In Greek culture, particularly outside of Athens, marriage is still very much a family event. Extended families have opinions, expectations, and a long memory. A woman who makes a poor choice, who picks a man who disappoints, who cannot provide, who turns out to be emotionally absent, does not just carry that privately. She carries it at every Easter dinner, every name day celebration, every family gathering for years. Choosing an older man, especially one with a demonstrated life and established character, is often perceived as the wiser, more thoughtful choice. It is a decision that the family can respect even if it raises eyebrows initially. Reason 4. Greek men over 65 were raised in a culture that still valued chivalry in a genuine way. I'm not talking about performance. I am not talking about a man who pulls out a chair because he read somewhere that women like that. I am talking about men who were genuinely raised to believe that caring for a woman is an honor. Men who were taught by their fathers and grandfathers that a good man provides, protects, and shows up. That cultural inheritance does not disappear. It lives in the way an older Greek man greets you at the door, the way he insists on carrying something heavy, the way he makes you feel like your presence in his home is the best thing that happened to his week. Reason 5. The concept of matriarchy, doing things with love and soul, runs deeper in older generations. Greeks have a word, matriarchy, which roughly means pouring yourself completely into what you do, doing it with soul, with love, with your whole self present. Younger people know the word, but older Greek men often live it. The older fisherman does not just drop a line in the water, he reads the sea. The older cook does not just make food, he makes something that carries 40 years of practice. The older lover does not just go through the motions, he is genuinely, completely present. 30-year-old women who have dated men who are technically there, but spiritually absent, find this quality intoxicating. Part 2. Emotional and psychological depth. Reason. 6. Older men have done the interior work, or at least most of it. By 65, a man has usually confronted his demons at least once, maybe twice. He has lost people he loved. He has made mistakes that cost him something real. He has gone through periods of being completely lost and found his way back. That experience does not make him perfect, but it makes him honest. A 30-year-old woman who is herself emotionally mature does not want to be the first person to introduce a man to the concept of self-reflection. She wants someone who already knows the terrain. Reason 7. Communication becomes effortless because older men are no longer performing. There is a particular exhaustion that comes from dating someone who is still figuring out their identity, who is still deciding what kind of man they want to be, who changes positions and opinions based on social pressure. Older men tend to know who they are. They no longer need to posture. They do not have to prove their masculinity through dominance or emotional unavailability. They can say, "I was wrong," without feeling like the ground is collapsing beneath them. For women who have spent their 20s navigating the theater of younger male ego, this kind of directness is like taking a breath of clean mountain air. Reason 8. Patience becomes a form of love that younger men struggle to offer. Older men, generally speaking, have learned that most things in life worth having require time. They do not rush. They do not spiral into anxiety when a conversation takes a difficult turn. They sit with discomfort. They let silence exist without panicking to fill it. For a woman who has a lot going on, a career, complicated friendships, a relationship with her own family that requires energy, being with a man who is patient is not a small thing. It is everything. Reason 9. They have already been through heartbreak and come out the other side. A man of 65 who is emotionally available has almost certainly been through serious loss, a divorce perhaps, or the death of someone central to his life, or a relationship that ended in ways that forced him to look inward. The women who choose these men are often choosing men who know what it means to grieve and to heal. There is a quality of compassion that comes from surviving your own heartbreak, and women can feel the difference between a man who has that quality and one who is still protecting himself from ever experiencing it. Reason 10. Older men tend to prioritize the relationship rather than treating it as a background feature of their lives. Younger men often love their partners genuinely, but place the relationship somewhere on a long list of competing priorities: career ambition, friendships, sport, entertainment, their sense of autonomous identity. By 65, a man has often organized his priorities differently. He knows that the people in his life are the point, not the backdrop. For a woman who has spent years being made to feel like a supporting character in someone else's story, being chosen as the main event is profoundly meaningful. Reason. 11. Life experience creates a form of emotional generosity that is hard to fake. When you have lived through real things, raising children, building something, losing something, starting over, you develop a kind of empathy that comes from having been in the dark yourself. Older men tend to be generous with their emotional attention in a way that is grounded in actual experience rather than theory. They ask how you are and actually wait for the answer. They remember things you told them. They connect the dots between your past and your present. This quality, which sounds simple, is surprisingly rare. Reason. 12. The absence of jealousy and possessiveness creates a spacious kind of love. Older men who are secure in themselves have often moved past the jealousy and possessiveness that can make younger relationships feel claustrophobic. They are not threatened by your friendships, your success, your independence, or your ambitions. They want you to thrive. They root for you without needing to own you. For women who have had the experience of being loved in ways that felt controlling or diminishing, this spaciousness feels like liberation. Part 3. Lifestyle and practical reality. Reason. 13. Financial stability allows the relationship to focus on what actually matters. This is the reason people dance around, because they are afraid of being misunderstood. But it is worth saying clearly and without apology. Not having to worry about money inside a relationship changes the entire emotional climate of that relationship. When both people in a partnership are financially stressed, every conversation carries an undertow of anxiety. Decisions become fraught. Arguments about small things are almost always arguments about the fear underneath. An older man who is financially settled, not necessarily wealthy, but genuinely stable, creates a relationship environment where two people can actually focus on each other rather than on survival. Reason 14. They have already built the life rather than still building it. A man of 65 typically has a home that is actually his, a lifestyle that is actually established, a daily rhythm that is actually chosen rather than improvised. He knows what wine he likes. He has a regular table at the taverna where they know his name. He has weekend rituals and morning habits. Joining that kind of established life can feel, for the right woman, deeply appealing. She is not waiting for someone to become something. She is entering something that already exists and has warmth in it. Reason 15. Travel becomes a richer, more intentional experience with an older partner. Greece is, among other things, a country that rewards slow travel, the kind where you spend 3 days in one village instead of 15 minutes at a famous viewpoint. Older men travel differently. They are not collecting passport stamps. They are not optimizing itineraries. They know the best time of year to visit a particular island, not because they read a listicle, but because they have been there in October and again in May, and they remember the difference in the light. Traveling with that kind of person teaches you how to actually see a place. Reason. 16. Older men often have the freedom and flexibility that younger men dream about. Whether through retirement, semi-retirement, or simply having built a professional life that now runs more smoothly than it did in its building phase, older men often have genuine time. They can take a long lunch. They can spend a week by the sea without checking in with an office every 4 hours. For a woman in her 30s who is still in the sprint phase of her own career, this flexibility in a partner can provide a balance that a same-age partner who is also sprinting simply cannot offer. Reason. 17. The social circle is richer in a different way. The friendships of a 65-year-old man have been through things. Those friendships have survived distance, disagreement, grief, and decades. The dinner parties that happen in those social circles are conversations rather than performances. There is something deeply nourishing about sitting at a table where the people around you have actually lived, where the stories are real, where the opinions are formed from experience rather than trend. Reason 18. Older men in Greece maintain a physical presence and pride that does not disappear with age. Greek culture still places significant value on physical dignity in older men, the way a man carries himself, the way he dresses, the care he takes with his appearance and his health. An older Greek man who has lived well is often strikingly vital, not in the manufactured way of trying to look younger, but in the natural way of someone who has walked these hills and eaten this food and lived outside whenever possible. There is an attractiveness in physical ease, in a body that knows itself, that many women find deeply appealing. Reason. 19. The pace of the relationship matches where many 30-year-old women actually are. A woman in her 30s who has spent her 20s dating, who has had significant relationships, who knows herself reasonably well, she often wants a relationship that is intimate but not frenetic. She does not need the drama of early infatuation. She does not want to spend her emotional energy on jealousy games or push-pull dynamics. The steadier pace of a relationship with an older man, the way it tends to move with more certainty and less anxiety, can feel perfectly suited to where she is in her own emotional development. Reason. 20. Greek island life creates a context where age differences simply feel less remarkable. On a small Greek island where everyone knows everyone, where the rhythms of life are determined by seasons and ferries and fishing rather than by social media trends, the usual cultural scripts about age-appropriate relationships loosen considerably. People care about whether you are happy, whether you are kind, whether you contribute to the community. The numbers become secondary. Part 4. The language of presence, reason. 21. Older men listen differently. This might sound like a small thing, but ask any woman who has experienced it, and she will tell you it is enormous. An older man who is genuinely interested in you does not listen while thinking about what he is going to say next. He does not check his phone while you are mid-sentence. He does not redirect the conversation back to himself at the earliest opportunity. He actually listens. He holds what you say. He thinks about it. He responds to what you actually said, rather than to a version he edited in his head. The experience of feeling truly heard is one of the most intimate things one human being can offer another, and older men are often simply better at it. Reason 22. They do not need constant external validation. A man who has spent 65 years becoming himself has generally moved past the urgent need for other people to confirm that he is smart, attractive, successful, and worthy of admiration. He knows what he is. He is comfortable in that. For a woman who has spent energy managing the egos of younger partners, reassuring, flattering, carefully calibrating her own shine so as not to outshine, being with someone who simply does not need that is genuinely relaxing. Reason. 23. They understand the value of ritual and consistency in building intimacy. The coffee that is always ready when you wake up. The walk they always suggest at a particular time of evening. The way they always ask how a specific thing in your life is going because they remembered that it mattered to you. These small, consistent acts of attention are the architecture of real intimacy, and older men tend to understand this intuitively. Intimacy to them is not an event. It is a practice. Reason 24. They are comfortable with silence in a way that creates genuine closeness. Two people who can sit together without needing to fill every moment with noise or activity have reached a particular level of trust and comfort. Older men who have had decades to make peace with their own company tend to be good at this. The ability to sit on a terrace overlooking the sea and say nothing, to simply be present together, is something that many couples never achieve and that women with older partners often describe as one of the most precious aspects of the relationship. Reason 25. They do not compete with you. They champion you. A man who is securely established in his own life and identity does not feel threatened by a woman's ambition, intelligence, or success. He does not need to be the smartest person in the room. He does not feel diminished when you excel. He can look at what you are building and feel nothing but genuine pride and pleasure. For women who have spent time with partners who responded to their success with subtle undermining or cool withdrawal, being championed rather than competed with is transformative. Part 5. Love, intimacy, and the body reason. 26. Older men are genuinely attentive lovers. Experience in love, as in most things, teaches you to slow down, to pay attention, to notice what actually matters to the other person, rather than moving through a checklist. Older men have generally learned that a woman's pleasure is not a byproduct of their own. It is the point. They take their time. They are curious rather than mechanical. They notice response. This attentiveness, which grows out of experience and ego reduction, creates an intimacy that many women find qualitatively different from anything they experienced with younger partners. Reason. 27. Physical affection is expressed in richer, more varied ways. Not all physical intimacy is sexual, and older men often understand this in ways that younger men do not. The hand on the small of the back, the forehead kiss in the morning, the way an arm wraps around shoulders during a difficult conversation. The physical language of care, comfort, and steady affection is something older men have usually developed fully, and it communicates a kind of love that words sometimes cannot reach. Reason. 28. They are not in a hurry to reach any particular destination. In relationships, as in travel, older men understand that the journey is the thing. They are not rushing toward the next milestone. They are not treating the present moment as a waiting room for some future arrangement. They are here now, in this evening, at this table, with you. That quality of presence, of actually inhabiting the present rather than strategizing about the future, is genuinely rare and genuinely healing for women who have spent too much time with people living 20 steps ahead. Reason 29. They tend to make a woman feel beautiful in a very specific, personal way. There is a difference between a man who tells you that you are beautiful because it is the expected thing to say, and a man who notices the specific, actual things about you that he finds beautiful. The way you hold your coffee cup, the sound of your laugh when something genuinely surprises you, the expression on your face when you are reading something you love. Older men tend to see the specific woman rather than a generalized version of femininity, and that specificity in being seen is intoxicating. Reason 30. The emotional safety they provide allows women to be more fully themselves. This is perhaps the deepest truth in this entire list. When you feel genuinely safe, emotionally, practically, in terms of your worth and your welcome, you become more yourself. You say what you actually think. You show the parts you normally protect. You take up space without apologizing. Women with older partners often describe a version of themselves that they had not previously been able to fully inhabit. And that expanded version of oneself, that freedom to be fully, nakedly who you are, that is perhaps the greatest gift any relationship can offer. Part 6. Greek culture and the specific texture of this phenomenon. Reason 31. Greek Orthodox traditions embed reverence for elders into the culture's DNA. The Greek Orthodox Church, which remains deeply influential in Greek social life even among those who are not devoutly religious, is built around a reverence for age and wisdom. The elder priest, the elder of the community, the elder of the family, these are figures of genuine authority and respect. This cultural inheritance shapes how even secular Greeks perceive and relate to older people, and it contributes to an atmosphere in which an older man is not seen as a lesser romantic prospect, but as, in many ways, a more serious one. Reason 32. The extended family model means that marrying into an older man's world also means marrying into a richer network of support. In Greece, where family remains the primary social and practical support system, an older man's extended family, his siblings, his adult children, his friendships of decades, represents a network that a 30-year-old woman is joining rather than just a single person she is partnering with. This network can offer forms of belonging and practical support that are particularly valuable in a culture where individual isolation is still considered, at some level, a kind of failure. Reason 33. Older Greek men who have raised children often have a tenderness that is specific to that experience. A man who has been a father, who has sat by a sick child's bed, who has driven a frightened teenager to a test, who has watched someone he made from nothing grow into a full human being, carries a particular quality of tenderness and patience. That quality does not disappear when the children are grown. It becomes part of how he moves through the world. Women often feel this quality in the way an older father figure partner shows up for them, not paternally in a condescending sense, but with a practiced, lived, genuine care. Reason 34. Greek culture's relationship with food and table creates an intimacy that older men embody especially well. In Greece, the meal is a form of love. The table is a sacred space. The act of preparing something and placing it in front of someone and watching them eat it with pleasure is one of the most intimate exchanges in the culture. Older Greek men who grew up before takeout and convenience culture understand this viscerally. They know how to shop, how to choose, how to cook, and how to set a table in a way that makes the person sitting across from them feel cared for. This is not a trivial thing in a culture where food is the primary language of love. Reason 35. The islands themselves create an environment where the conventional rules of dating feel suspended. There is something about the particular geography of Greece, the fact that so much of the country's romantic mythology happens on islands, places with edges, places you have to make an effort to get to and an effort to leave. that suspends normal social scripts. On an island, you are removed from your usual context. You are not your job title or your Instagram presence or your age-appropriate expectations. You are just yourself, in this light, beside this water, and the person beside you is just themselves too. Age differences that would cause commentary at a dinner party back home simply feel irrelevant against the backdrop of the Aegean. Reason 36. The Greek concept of philotimo, a deep personal honor and dignity, is often best embodied by older men. Philotimo is one of those Greek words that does not translate perfectly, but points towards something essential in the culture, a combination of pride, honor, generosity, and the deep need to be worthy of respect. It manifests as the man who insists on paying even when he cannot afford it, who would be mortally embarrassed to behave dishonorably, who holds open doors not to perform but because his dignity requires it. This quality, which is cultural and generational, often runs most purely in older men who were raised when it was taught as a primary virtue. Part 7. What women say when they speak honestly. Reason 37. They are tired of potential and want presence. I have spoken to women across Greece, in Athens coffee shops, on Crete beaches, at outdoor markets in Thessaloniki, and the sentence I heard more than any other, in more or less these exact words, was, "I am tired of loving potential. I am tired of waiting for someone to become the person they could be." Older men are already who they are. The relationship starts from a real place rather than a projected future. Reason 38. They want to be the younger one in the room for once. This sounds flip, but it runs deeper than it sounds. For women who have spent years being the responsible one, the stable one, the one who holds things together while a partner catches up, the experience of being the one who is younger, who has more energy, who is invited to learn rather than always teach, is genuinely refreshing. It rearranges the dynamic in ways that allow them to be cared for, which is something many high-functioning women have never experienced in a relationship. Reason 39. The relationship does not require constant maintenance and anxiety. Older men, as a general rule, do not create drama. They do not disappear for days and then reappear with no explanation. They do not send ambiguous messages designed to make you uncertain. They do not test your interest by withholding theirs. The relationship feels safe to relax into. And for women who have navigated the anxiety-inducing terrain of modern dating apps and the communication norms of their own generation, that sense of safety and reliability is deeply, profoundly restful. Reason 40. They feel protected in a way that connects to something ancient in them. Without getting reductive or prescriptive about what women want or need, there is something worth acknowledging here, which is that many women describe the experience of being with an older man who is strong and stable and present as connecting to something very deep in them, something that does not feel socialized or constructed, but felt. The word protection comes up repeatedly. Not protection in the sense of being controlled or infantilized, but protection in the sense of being accompanied through the world by someone who is genuinely actively on your side. Part 8. The wider world reflects this pattern. Reason 41. Italy tells a similar story along the Amalfi Coast. A few hours by ferry, and you are in the waters of southern Italy, where in towns like Positano and Ravello and Praiano, the same dynamic plays out with particular intensity. The Italian older man, like his Greek counterpart, carries centuries of a culture that values the wisdom of age, the dignity of experience, the art of living beautifully. Younger Italian women in these coastal communities often speak about older men in terms of their ability to see them, really see them, in ways that feel rare and precious. The cultural context is different, but the emotional terrain is remarkably similar. Reason 42. France has its own version rooted in intellectual and emotional sophistication. In France, the phenomenon takes on a particular flavor shaped by the culture's relationship with conversation, philosophy, and the art of seduction as a long, slow, mutual discovery. Older Frenchmen, particularly in cities like Lyon and Bordeaux or in the villages of Provence, often approach romantic relationships with a level of thoughtfulness and patience that younger women find compelling precisely because it is so unusual. The dinner that lasts 4 hours. The walk that turns into a 2-hour conversation about something that actually matters. These are not performances. They are the natural rhythm of a man who values depth. Reason. 43. Spain's passionate culture manifests differently, but arrives at a similar conclusion. In Andalusia and along the Costa Brava and in the mountain villages of Catalonia, older Spanish men carry their years with a particular kind of warmth and directness. Spanish culture places enormous value on presence, being fully, warmly, expressively present, and older Spanish men who have spent decades in this cultural environment have developed a quality of attention and engagement that younger women often describe as unlike anything they have experienced. The passion does not cool with age in Spain. It deepens and becomes more precise. Reason. 44. Portugal offers a poetic melancholy that becomes irresistible in older men. Fado, Portugal's great musical tradition, is built around saudade, a word for a longing, a beautiful ache, a love for things that are present and things that are lost simultaneously. Older Portuguese men who carry that sensibility, who have lived enough to understand that joy and sorrow are intertwined, who find beauty in the bittersweet, offer a quality of companionship that many younger women find profoundly meaningful. To be loved by someone who understands loss is to be loved in full color. Reason. 45. Turkey's bridge between East and West creates a specific masculine archetype that older men embody most fully. In Istanbul and along the Aegean coast of Turkey, older men often embody a combination of traditional generosity and sophisticated cosmopolitanism that is culturally specific and deeply attractive. The older Turkish man of means and experience often combines genuine chivalry, wide cultural curiosity, a rich intellectual life, and a physical vitality rooted in a diet and lifestyle that keeps men present and vital well into old age. Women who encounter this combination often describe it as uniquely compelling. Reason 46. The Balkans at large reflect a deep cultural respect for older men that creates specific romantic dynamics. In Serbia, Croatia, Bulgaria, and throughout the Balkans, the older patriarch figure carries enormous cultural weight. He is respected at the table. His opinion matters. His history is acknowledged. Women raised in these cultures who choose older partners are often choosing men whose social standing, whose accumulated respect within the community, provides a specific kind of belonging and recognition. The choice is not merely romantic. It is also social and cultural, a way of rooting oneself in a tradition of value. Part 9. The honest challenges reason. 47. The relationship requires honest communication about the future. No honest account of this phenomenon would be complete without acknowledging that choosing a partner who is 35 years older requires a level of emotional realism about time that many younger couples never have to confront. The woman who chooses this path is choosing with her eyes open to the fact that the years will look different, that there will be a point where the balance of care shifts, that loss is not a distant abstraction, but a real feature of the landscape. Women who thrive in these relationships tend to be women who are capable of this kind of honesty with themselves and who feel that what they have is worth what that honesty costs. Reason 48. Social judgment, while fading, has not entirely disappeared. Even in cultures as relationally sophisticated as Greece, there are still people who comment, who raise eyebrows, who make assumptions about what an age gap relationship means about the people in it. Women who choose older men sometimes have to make peace with being a subject of gossip, a subject of theories, a subject of other people's projections. The women who do this most successfully are those who have a solid enough sense of themselves that they can let the noise pass without internalizing it. Reason 49. The relationship works best when it is genuinely chosen and not a solution to something else. As with all relationships, the age gap dynamic can be misused. It can be a way for a woman to avoid peers who feel overwhelming, or a way to access a lifestyle without doing the emotional work of genuine partnership, or a way for an older man to feel young rather than to genuinely connect. The relationships that work, that are actually beautiful, that the women who are in them would choose again, are the ones where both people are genuinely choosing each other, where the age difference is context rather than content, where the relationship is about what is between two specific people rather than what the arrangement provides. Part 10. Why this matters beyond Greece. Reason. 50. This phenomenon is a mirror held up to what all women are actually asking for. This is the one that matters most. When you strip away the Greek setting and the cultural specifics and the particular details of this particular dynamic, what you find underneath is not something exotic or unusual. You find women asking for what women have always asked for and rarely received: to be seen, to be safe, to be accompanied rather than managed, to be loved by someone who has already done the work of becoming themselves and can therefore be fully present for the work of loving you. The older Greek man is, in many cases, simply a vessel for something that younger men have not yet learned how to be, and will eventually if they pay attention. The 30-year-old woman sitting at a rooftop bar in Santorini, holding hands with a man whose silver hair catches the last light of the evening, is not making a compromise. She is not settling. She is not being practical at the expense of passion. She is, if she is lucky, doing the most romantic thing that any person can do. She is choosing the real thing over the idea of the thing. She is choosing a person over a demographic. She is choosing presence over potential. And standing there watching her 2 years ago with the Aegean going from gold to rose to that deep, impossible blue it turns just before dark, I thought, I understand completely. Conclusion. So there you have it, beautiful people. 50 reasons. One ancient, sun-drenched, story-soaked country, and one central truth that runs underneath all of them. Love, when it is real, does not follow the rules we were handed. It follows something older and quieter and more honest than any social script. If this conversation moved you, challenged you, or made you think about your own choices differently, that is all I ever ask for. Drop something in the comments. I read everything. And if you have your own story, if you have been in this kind of relationship or watched someone you love find this kind of happiness, I want to hear it because these stories deserve to be told. I am Julia. Travel far. Love honestly. See you next time.